Greetings, this is Don Meller from the Palo Alto County Gaming and Development Corporation. I will be going over grant applications documents in our discussions today, and what I will be trying to do is hit the highlights of different items in which we have had errors on applications which cause a rejection when we go through our committees and find that they aren't completed under the requirements of the application listing and descriptions. I will not be going through the detailed information that are in these documents, so you please read all of the documentation that is on this application form so that you meet the requirements. I will be only going over highlights and common errors that we have seen in the past. Also, if you have a question on any of the documentation or how some of it is to be interpreted, please call or email our office in order to get a clarification or to answer to your question. Though remember, there is no guarantees that the funding will be available to support all the applications we receive, and also all applications are scored by the board of directors, and there's some detail in the documentation of how this is completed. The application is required, and the deadline for submission for the applications are December 31st, 2015, and they are to be mailed to the office, so we have a postmark date. There is no date requirement. There is no date meaning one in early or later that makes any difference. It's just that gives us a cutoff point, and we do know that they were submitted in a proper time. I will now go over the full grant checkoff list. And this is a change. Full grants are limited to 2 applications per entity. And that means 2 full grant applications to many grant applications are applicable. So just as a comment, it's 2 applications of the full grants per entity or group. Applying organization and project are to be located in Palo Alto County, and you check off that list. And then all full grant applications who are not 501c3 organizations must be sponsored by a local city council, Palo Alto County Board of Supervisors, or the local school board. Entities must provide the resolution or minutes from the sponsor as well as the minutes from their own governing board. We also ask that we have the motion of who made the motion, who seconded it, and also make sure the description of the project is included in the motion. This has been an issue we've had at different times, and we've had different motions that we had a motion for, but it did not match the grant applications. Next, the application must be submitted in the current grant cycle form. We have had grants that had used prior year grant applications forms. Please make sure that you use the current grant application that is currently on the website. All blanks on the application have been completed, including Form A, cover sheet, and Form B, project financial information. All questions 1 through 6 are to be answered on Form C. These are to be no more than 5 typed double-spaced pages. A detailed budget has been attached to it. The budget includes a breakdown of the areas in which the funding will be used, including dollar amounts for each area, the project estimates, and when applicable. All sources of matching funds are listed and equal the total matching funds line on Form B, Section B, and also they total to the total bottom amounts. Projects include a minimum of 25% match on projects up to $150,000 or less, and 50% match for all projects over $150,000. Check your math and verify that the figures are recorded in the correct location on the form. Grants will be disqualified for incorrect math calculations, which is the number one issue that we have had in the last number of years, is the actual calculations did not match. And we've also put in there this year that please round the dollars so that it's not just a few cents that is off on the calculations. And also make sure Form A and B, everything is in the correct slots. This application, again, is to be typed in 12-point font, stapled, and a narrative of both is in double-spaced. Form B is signed. We have applications where they go through the whole application process, get all the information, and they forget to sign the document. Also, a recommendation we have is have a person that has not worked with the actual application and have them review it and verify with the checkoff list that the application meets the requirements and it also is in the right order and all the documents are signed and the calculations have been completed correctly. And then the last part of that is a total of 10 copies, original plus 9 copies of the application are all attached. All required attachments are being submitted in the following order. And again, they are stapled. Please do not put binders or clips on them. They need to be stapled. And it's very important in the next checkoff list that they are put in this order and also to make sure every one of these documents are included in the packet. Okay, Form A cover sheet would be on top. Form B would be the second sheet. And then Form C, which is up to 5 pages of description, breakdown, and information, is next. A mission statement of the organization, and again, this is for full grants. Board of directors, officers, and leaders of the organization, and this would also include which states where their addresses are. A resolution of sponsoring organization and applicant organization meeting minutes. And now this is again, like I mentioned up above, if it's not a 501c3, we need the sponsoring organization's resolution, and if the organization and the application's organization meeting minutes. If it is just the application is a 503, we need the organization minutes. So these are two different items, but if it's a sponsor, we need both. And also remember, we need to have in the motion identifying the actual project that is being applied for. IRS determination letter, the Iowa certification of good standing, and that would be needed. It needs to be in a certain period of time on that, 60 days, I believe. And the estimates would be attached also that have this, and we encourage more than one estimate on the project if at all possible. And again, make sure the application is signed on Form B, which has happened a number of times where just go through the whole application and it doesn't get signed. Okay. We will now go through the full grant application Form A. Please fill in the project name, the organization which is applying, the address of the applicant, the contact person, telephone number and email address, and that person is the one that we would contact if we have questions on the application or if the application has been approved and awarded. That also is the contact person that we would contact if there's anything on the grant agreements or the quarterly updates that we need. The telephone number again is very critical. The PIN number is also needed for the organization, and also please check if this is a government agency. Identify yes or no if it's a government agency. The applicant leader or officer and the applicant leader or officer's phone number. Also, if this is not a 501c3 organization, it is required to have a sponsor. And please fill this slot out here that you have a sponsor. This has also been a cause for rejections of grant applications in the past, that the sponsor was not listed. And this information, please complete all the information that is here. Now on the bottom we have totals. We have a total amount of project, total matching funds, amount of funds required from Palo Alto County Gaming and Development App. And these need to be in the right order. So what is the total project is A. What's your matching funds? At least 25% if it's up under $550,000. And then also how much is requested from the gaming funds. And then make sure these are in the right order, because we have had the projects actually being the amount being requested, and these have been just very interesting how often that these get placed into the wrong location. This application is also the first of two, or are you only having one application as an organization? So it identifies how many the applicant has submitted of the full grants. And that's just strictly relevant to the full grants. And then we will go into the Form B, and on the one side is the project cost breakdown, the construction, renovation, equipment, supplies, and what other items are needed for the construction or the purchase or whatever the application criteria is requesting the funds for, and also labor, and then a total amount at the end here. And again, that total has to equal what's in the column above. On the other side, we have funds available. We have cash funds. If you have cash available, how much applies to this grant? We do not need the amount of cash that is in the organization, just the amount that you're applying to meet the requirements of the matching funds. Also then list any other areas that you have funds, and if there's other in-kind or other organizations that are participating in the fund match, and then the total funds, and that again must equal the above. We have had applications that all it says is matching funds without listing the detail above. We are requiring that the details are listed above and they do total. And then and that equals the matching funds, or how much will be applied, which is also on Form A, and then how much is the actual grant being applied for. And here on the bottom is the area that we have mentioned. If you listen to the other documentation, is please sign the document. If this is not signed, the actual application will be rejected. This completes the review or overview of the document. And please, if you have further questions, please contact our office by email or calling them, which the number or email address is on our website. And also, please make sure that if you are applying, that you read the entire documentation to verify that everything is covered. I thank you much. Bye-bye.